Hello, hello, testing this. Hello, hello, testing this. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Redoing. Not even redoing, just finishing this art from the stream yesterday. So I'll just do this and explain kind of what it is. That's the game plan. Testing this. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Redoing. Let's just getting some of the stream stuff settled. Trying to make sure everything makes sense. The chat window's a hard one for me to figure out because I have to do it from the view, but I want to test to make sure it's working. Let's see. Just send an emoji. Just send this one. That is not how that works. Good to know. Can send this one. And it shows up. I don't want to learn more. They won't go away. Okay. Noted. Let's see. We can do it like this. Fix that up. And I think this view is better. Like that. Unless it's completely hard to read, which it might be. We can do it like this. That looks pretty decent. And then if I mess with it, it goes there. Let's see. There we go. We can, or this one. No, we'll do. Let's do normal. Okay. Yeah, I'll just finish this guy's artwork. And that'll be the plan. I'm thinking it needs some background music. I wonder if just game music works. I can pull up something that could just play in the background. I think I need a different window for that though. Now I'll test out the sounds so it doesn't make everything go crazy. It's right here. No, that's still good. Here we go. What? Pokemon Auto Chess songs would work. I'm pretty sure they have a jukebox or something tool. Or maybe not. This is what we're looking at. It's just right here, it doesn't matter. Now they have a Game Boy. Or I wonder if that plays audio. Is it all coming through? It might be. Can't really tell. Definitely connected twice. You don't need the Discord audio, does that fix that? Does that fix that? I think so. Can't tell if it's actually fixing it, but that actually did fix it. But I'm just listening on my phone to figure this out. That's all. But it will turn off every time I click out of this, though, so we don't really even want this, do we? Is there a way to set the page to not do that? Probably not. We could try something. How to make Chrome tabs not lose audio tabbing out. Memory save or updating the Chrome tab. So we will check that. To memory saver exceptions. I don't know if I've ever seen this even. Because background tabs asleep to save memory, which can cut off active audio or streams. That makes sense. 3 dots. Of course, settings. Go to performance. And this is just happening off screen. Performance. Memory saver. Do I just turn it off? Always keep this besides that. I turn this off. I don't think it's actually gonna fix the problem. No, it doesn't fix it. Okay. We'll just go without the music. Unless, is there... I mean, YouTube would work, but I don't want ads to randomly pop up. Would be the one there that I don't really know how to avoid, so let's find a different one. Looping background music. We can do that. No. checking on my phone while I can. Yeah, it wasn't incredibly loud. Yeah, this is getting closer. I'm just checking one more time and then we'll just move on to doing the art. For now, we're checking this. I think that's fine for now. If it's annoying, that's what chat's for. Oh, I need to find a way to turn it down on my end. I think that's fine for now too. It didn't loop. We'll see how long that lasts. Okay. Probably not even that noticeable anyway. Let's do this. This is the Serious Starfall Draco, so he's context. I mean, obviously this is new to anyone who would see this. Mythos is kind of just a world that's fantasy Pokemon adjacent, so a lot of these designs are, I mean, I do monster designs in general, but a lot of these monster designs are inspiration from kind of just the Pokemon designs stuff I've done in the past. I've done monster design stuff for other games like Katamon and various things, but I have a lot of like fantasy game background and just the stuff that I like. So I'm looking at World of Warcraft and kind of how they do a lot of variations of different things. We can even look at some of the stuff here, and we'll have like 3 different types of crabs that are all slightly different, right? Or these are kind of like ancient beings, various dragon races that all come from different areas. Another thing that is kind of Pokemon adjacent, but still treated different in Mythos is biomes. So there's no types in Mythos, but there's biomes where they like to come from. So we have some woodlands Mythos, and then some that are mountains, and some that come from even glacial desert Mythos. I think I already said woodlands, but darklands, ocean. Skylands is another one where they don't necessarily have a biome on the board in the original game, but they do have a presence in the fact that they can fly over things or are usually moving faster or have abilities based around moving around. So this character, for example, is a very mobile character. In the base game, he was the fastest character with the most attacks. So fast, very active, and kind of a glass cannon at the same time, but not necessarily. He's built more to kind of sit in a fight and then run away when he needs to. So in the design, I want to kind of keep that. This is the original. So what we're looking at, but in the scale that we're dealing with now, we have a square region. So it being square adds some other complications, right? Like we can't fit everything that used to be in the original artwork because it was very rectangular in like left and right. Now we need to fit everything into the square. This one, I'm thinking the bodies are pretty big and close. You can kind of just map out the arms first. I like to do in a different color. Let's grab we can pretty much cover the exact same proportions it had originally. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It'll be not a half circle. I don't know why I'm getting a half circle tool. I was maybe just not paying attention. Although, when you also go down to the sticker style, with a character like this, it's sleek and kind of like smaller in proportions. It's a little hard. A good character to look at for this example would be, this is Locke. He's like a, how do you describe him? He's a dragon. One of the Dragon King characters. They go from like a whelp or like a baby smaller form, and then they show that like the more like adult raised like bigger forms, and that's in all the different glacial dragon setups. And then there's the ancient dragons, which are like the leader of that dragon faction. And this one kind of does a lot of the parts of what I want to do with Sirius, where he's got a very sleek, long snake design. He's got segmented arms, which I think might actually help over here. The one thing that I guess this character also benefits from is he's got a really big head. So the design kind of balances itself out where it's a lot of weight in this side and then it kind of like tails out over here. So with Sirius, we don't necessarily have that. In the original design, he's very slender. He's supposed to be fast. So his wings are going to kind of block out the, I guess, the weight for the whole design. So I might even end up moving the tail down again, just to balance the overall layout. And then we could go for more of a segmented design going straight into the blade hands. It's supposed to have like light, easy to move around blades. And oh, hold on, I think the Discord audio went away. Or is constantly thinks it's hearing something. Okay, well, we don't necessarily need this one then. Let's get rid of that window. No, it looks fine. We'll leave it. Let's do, sorry, a little bit more on the layout stuff. I don't really want to spend all the time here doing this, but I'm definitely still learning how I want to set all this up. So like I was saying with the segmented arm, like he already has a segmented arm, and the fact that he has this like attachment on here, it was more natural here where it's like a bicep into a forearm. But I think we can go this into this piece where this piece turns into the blade almost right away. Can borrow. Good thing about being in vector art, you can borrow all the pieces. So we're gonna steal his hand or his head and make it the hand. And going down into these sticker styles, we want to make things a bit chunkier. Or just like not as small in proportions. Like if I do a thin blade hand like that, it's just not gonna stand out very well. Certain designs, I think it's good where they're probably like extremities or weapons. This guy's got some tiny other parts, but it's because his body's huge, right? Um, so in this character's example, like he could have really skinny little blade hands, but I just don't think it's necessary to keep the design consistent with the original. So we'll go to kind of slightly bulkier I guess we'll slim into it a little bit more here. Blades. He's kind of got like the Wolverine situation going on, where he's punching you with knives, and you can achieve that pretty easy with just more star shapes. Starfall Draco needs star shapes, very surprising. So we use that kind of shape there. And I'm already liking this shape a lot. I will flip it just to look at it from another angle, make sure things proportionally make sense. I do think it's slightly off. I mean, even if we just undo and redo, like obviously the one side jumps up, but I think it jumps up too much. We could probably this down slightly and change where the point ends. I think we should clip these. They can be straight lines. They don't need any curve to achieve the overall look. Bring this in a little bit more. I kind of like this being a curve though. Like it's kind of like going from his more natural body into the sharp star aspects. I think it makes a bit more sense. This can be thinned out and then brought a little closer to the body. Maybe even going for slightly different pose. I'm thinking about how this guy was posed. It just ends up working really well with the like tail taking up this section. Sirius's tail won't take up as much, but his wings are gonna need a lot of space here, or even going down. Well, unless kind of looking at the original design, giving him this kind of like fencing off pose where he's threatening you. I'm also realizing this being a bit thinner would probably be better. Let me bring this in. It's just a lot of little tweaks. I mean, I just move stuff around until I feel better about it. And even like I'll catch myself going up to like older designs and tweaking, like layering, or I think even like not that long ago I shaded these two differently. So it's a whole big tweaking process. I'm not gonna like say every design is done all the time until I've decided that I don't want to touch them anymore. Um, so with this one, we'll give him some eyes. Move this over slightly to get the perspective a little bit better. And we'll copy paste arm because we can. Place it all the way in the background and we'll give it just a better positioning. You can tell in the original I really didn't know exactly what to do with this arm. It's actually not even perfectly centered across. Here we're going to get away with it a little bit more because we can just go to a darker color there, darker color here, maybe even another darker color there would help. That ends up blending with the head, so we'll probably lighten the head slightly. This is a hard character in the fact that he's all one color. Non-possible, of course. Non-possible, but this one be really smart with like your use of color because already like this is kind of all blending into each other. We use separation on like a lot of these characters. Even this being all blue doesn't mean it's not separated, right? Because it has at least two different big shades. Um, a lot of these characters do use dual tones to break them up, or just really clever placement because like these don't actually attach to each other, but they go into each other well because they're both back elements, right? for a character that's skinny like this, that gets a little harder. What could probably help the most is adding an additional color. We could probably just brighten the body and get away with it. And if the body goes straight into this arm in color, it's totally fine. Since they are separated enough, and then we can always do kind of sneaky thing here, where we separate them with like an outline. It's not like a serious outline. His name is serious, but it's just enough to give the differentiation. It's just some like light shading essentially. But that also is where the segmented look comes from. It was really easy to separate with because I decided this section was going to be a completely different color. So I could see us potentially moving Sirius's body section into the darker yellows. But I also don't know if I love that, since if it goes towards the darker yellow, then almost everything will be really bright and obnoxious. So we'd probably say for like this, we would make this the lighter one, and this one like a darker version of this. And I think that separation is still there. We will also repose this section. Kind of why I'm doing like more of a pose. We could even get a bit more dynamic by rotating him slightly. Looks like he's holding this up like a gun. The original shape was he was supposed to make a star when he does the full pose. So could try to stick that. It's not like too far away from being able to. The hardest part is going to be this back arm though. So if we want to stick to that, it's going to be closer to this, like he's holding two guns down. More or less how it ends up looking. His legs will kind of go off the ends, or he won't have legs at all. A slight redesign is never bad. Point to this one as close to up as possible. But yeah, so it's kind of like a sneer to him. He's eyeballing you. He chases you down. We can shrink the head slightly. Yeah, he'll be the brightest thing on here. From a distance, and being at a distance matters. The game itself that these are going to be used in does a pretty far back view. So I won't want to go away from that too much. Probably have to differentiate his colors even more than this. What I think we should do is just darken, go into like the darker orangey yellow. It's kind of already this color, right? Yeah, and then we go darker into the back layers so that they look like they're further away. So that one, this one specifically, I went to orange instead of yellow. So we're actually going down towards the red when you're doing shadows or darker layers for yellow, it's better to do that than to go down here because this is just brown. But you don't want to go too far into orange. So you go closer to like this kind of value, and then you can mess around with it a little bit more. But and then as you go further down, you might end up going more this way. That's also you get like good golds as well. I think the head should still be the lighter. The head will be the lightest one. And then the blades can stand out a little bit more. And then the wings will take this color to start. I do want them to be pointed and in the back. I don't want that. This. Actually. So we have to achieve a lot in a tiny amount of space. That's what we're gathering here. At a point, we might end up having to make a call to change his body to be smaller to make the wings have more space, which I think is good now. He can be smaller. He's not supposed to be huge in general. Small enough to be rideable, but or wait, big enough to be rideable, but small enough that he could sword fight a human and not look like a monster. I mean, he's a monster, but you get the point. This is looking really good. We can even bring that up more. And we're just trying to achieve a star shape, right? I think that's the biggest thing. If you look at Sirius with all of his yellow, the dark yellow pieces, they should make a star. I think this we will actually copy that color, and then we'll duplicate this over in the background. Give it a reflect. And the easiest way to do the opposite side is just this skew until kind of feels right. So then we can fit him into the right space and scale him back up. He will have an outline, so we don't have all of the space in the grand scheme of things. You'll see a lot of these guys where the black outline is actually the part that hits the top. But the spacing of the squares doesn't really matter. It just keeps it to where when I do the export, they're all the exact same size. Or as close as they need to be. We can also, let's do, I'm a little annoyed about the pop out window. Return to Discord. Let's see. I want to see the call so I can get the viewing side better. Let's see here. Also terrible at the Discord. Go here. We can go to this one. Yeah, we'll go to this one. And then it'll have my talking again. Okay. Yes, this is what I wanted. Okay, so let's go fix this for you guys. We're in this channel. But I need to drop it down. There we go. Okay. So now it'll actually tell you when I'm talking. Perfect. All about user experience here. Okay. It's back to the wings. These these wings in particular, I think shape and everything we're onto something. I think I might lower this so that the perspective is slightly better, and then we can even angle him a little bit. But I like everything that his shape is doing. We might be able to make him just longer since we have the space, and then we can bring this up. The outline will cover a lot of space as well. His blades, let's make them not bigger, let's make them longer. Just give them more emphasis, and we can even grab his top point and bring it up just to make him look a little bit more intimidating. I think that'll give that posture. And then his face, like the end point where presumably his mouth would be, is getting hidden a little too hard. I kind of wish we could use that color, but it's way too dark. Or way too matchy. Let's get color window and see what we can do here. Stay along the top. It does still separate, but I don't want to get too close to that. That's where they start to lose each other. Once we darken this, in general, they'll always kind of blend a little bit. If anything, it just makes me think we should go slightly darker on all of the yellows to compensate for it. So it's becoming a little bit more orange in a lot of the yellow colors. It's all for the cause. I think it actually looks good. If we make his body the bright color, ooh, we actually can get away with a bit better shading that way too. Yeah, I like that. He in theory is pretty similar to these guys, but they use this brown color rather than trying to fit only yellows together. So the brown color separates this like light white from the darker colors, which are essentially the same things he has. So this brown is carrying a lot of that. And the fact that we use like a dark orange to hold the lighter yellow color from this color, right? There's another character that kind of suffers from this, where we're dealing with mostly blues, and the light blues out here are usually fine with this type of color, but these pieces, from a distance, they get lost. They're not the most important part, so it's not like it doesn't hurt the design, I feel, but it is interesting, and it's something I'm always looking out for. Kind of just scan all of these guys to see. That's why I try to avoid very single color monster design. Some of these guys I'm transferring from the old game, and I don't want to break up their designs too much. Igloris was a hard one too, because he actually used to be mostly blue with some of the white, so adding in more separation here was important. Another character that could really be an example of that is like Heimeyer. But overall, I think this is getting pretty close. Proportionally, he's pretty different than a lot of the cast. You could probably put him closest to like this guy or him. So a lot to still kind of figure out in keeping him consistent. But I feel like this is feeling like it matches the group while still being true to what he was supposed to be. Now it just needs legs. This space just feels weird with nothing. I'm a little worried about the placement on the back leg. It makes me almost want to angle this up. So he's kind of it won't break up the star shape, I think, but will make the placement of his leg a bit easier, and then we will just do that. And then this blade will become the lighter color here. So those are like lights. These are all middle tones. Actually, you can do that. But, well, actually, is this even necessary anymore? That's the real question. Yes, still necessary. And then this is the darkest one. Right? In context to the darker yellows and not just the light white yellows. For his legs, let's actually grab these two pieces. And I pre-planned this slightly. No, it's crazy how thinking ahead can work. And we can put a piece right in here to get kind of this shape. I want to do it without it literally just being a ring color of the end. So we'll take this, color it to half a piece, flip it, or the blade, layer that all the way to the back. I think it doesn't need to be as long as the other one. Take this part here and bring it to a point. That gives him like a little shoe piece. I'm not 100% set on this curve, so we'll get rid of both of those, and then we can define it ourselves here. Yeah, that feels a lot better. The other leg, this is gonna be a hard one because I always will try the dupe strats here since it just saves a lot of time. And usually I can salvage like some pieces from it, but this doesn't seem like it's gonna achieve what we want. So to modify it, do we definitely this has to be this color, this will end up being that color, and we will change the shape to be more pointing that style. Go ahead and place this here. I think we just kill that point for now. Let's see. I'm gonna remake this shape. I'm gonna leave the foot. I think this bigger. Yeah, this will do a lot better. There's also the fact that if we look at like the original shape, this is basically already there. Potentially get away with something like this and doing some masking. So I do, for a lot of shading, I do like color masking, where you take what you're working on, make that color. You can take another one, make it the color we want, grab both, duplicate them so that I don't lose what I was working with. And then we use this Pathfinder. You're not going to be able to see the Pathfinder in my layout. Let's see. Go ahead and use this Pathfinder, and then you'll see we got like a perfect cutout. So this is the old piece. And then we copy this one to, oh, it's grouped. To then delete that piece, and there we go. It's not exactly the shape I want, so I'll modify it, but I think this is going to get a lot closer. I always like my curves coming straight out from the point. Don't really want a hard line there unless it's on purpose. Yeah, that feels a lot more correct. I think the leg is still too low on the back leg. Position too low. And I might even want to curve this up a little bit. It's like run along this and like go straight through the middle of these is the hard part. This one's go up. Maybe right behind the body a little bit more because the perspective would be kind of doing that. I still want tangent there. Alright, that feels really good. It feels very accurate to the original design. So we get to the eyes and kind of just detailing. I had a plan, I thought, at one point. Can't remember. Oh, that's making the shadows on the blades. We can duplicate them, bring in kind of like a proxy for them, and just kind of remake the blade part. So now we have what could be considered a shadow. We kind of need a new color for this. I just need a little bit more in the in-between space. Do you want to curve these at all? They're supposed to be sharp. The main thing here is you can see that we have some of the back, the original blade peeking out. We can do one of these, kind of like we did before. We copy paste it so we have a duplicate. And then we use our Pathfinder to delete the outside element. Voila. And then maybe a lighter color to be in that section. So it's kind of like a three-part bladed piece. I think that'll end up making a lot of sense. Let's line that up. So we'll take this one, copy this color, maybe go to a lighter one to kind of bleed into it. I'll do the same tool, and there we go. So I wanted to at least shade those too. Because like we don't use a lot of shading, even some of these characters are almost entirely not shaded, right? There's just some shading when it matters, right? When it defines a part of that design. Like these are bells. They need to have a defined line that like tells you that it's a bell at the bottom. The other times is when it's minuscule, like these pants are one solid color, no details whatsoever, but you're not looking at his pants entirely, right? You shouldn't be, at least. not the important part. Now that we got this one all decided, we're just going to pull one of these. We'll reflect it. We'll do horizontal effects. It's gonna look better. And then we just kind of want to repose it into that space. I mean, we shrunk it a little differently, so all possible, all rescalable. I'm pretty happy with where that is still. I'll get rid of the old one. I gotta collect all these. Let's move to the back, bring them forward. The right spot. And this comes an interesting question. I think we just shade it on each piece. And then it'll still have shading that it originally had. Or the back layering, right? So his head is also segmented. I had it originally a line going from that point up, which we could still achieve. It might be unnecessary in the new vision. It depends on how I want to achieve the eyes. His eyes are supposed to be nice blue color. So let's attempt the eyes. This is actually a good example of we have a reference. Let's use it. So we're gonna draw over a reference. I will start, even though this is normally black outlined in this one, I will start blue to define original's intention, and it'll work from there. That's kind of the original shape. I think we can duplicate it. Make a, yeah, we'll go black for this one on this curve. We'll go to that one. Try to match the curve, or let's curve that out. Yeah, well, we have to get rid of this now. And there's even an argument to say that this should be smaller in the final design because most of it was black space that doesn't really need to be there anymore. Don't want that point causing any trouble, so we'll just do that. And then inside of this we want the lighter color. That we're going to do some color stamping again. So let's right there, copy paste both, cut them kind of like a cookie cutter. And so I'm happy to put this over there and see what it looks like. I cut them so that I don't like leave that one, but then I can always just like paste it in place here. And I'll just look at the positioning as I'm placing it. But another thing, you just gotta zoom out and make sure it's readable so that in our game where these are kind of fairly small, we actually can see them. Or we have this sort of angsty dragon. We can give him two eyes. Find that visual. I know that in the original, kind of the problem too, where he can almost look cross-eyed really easily. If I'm not careful with the points where they go to. So let's take this. We're going to change this a little more up. Make this one shorter overall. A little more shallow eye. think. This is another just common thing you'll want to be doing a lot in here if you're ever in Illustrator, is just zooming out and looking at the bigger picture. I think his eyes kind of stand out where he's so bright and really easy to see in kind of the like base visual, and his eyes are stark and they're staring, you know, straight through. Just sort of like that. I think this will just leave a darker blue, and then we'll add another half circle with probably this color, but we'll see. And then I don't think I'll need any highlights or anything because the eyes are they're so small. Let's see how much of this we can just hide here. With one like a little movement. So we don't have to like do any cutting. Yeah, I think that looks cool. Two-tone the head instead of giving him this line going straight down. So we'll just shade it. I don't want to do too much shading, so we'll just give this curve. Should probably be slightly darker. Or we can even just go lighter. Do this plus. No, we can't use that color. Probably blends in too much with the rest of it. Right? Yeah. We can go to the darker color. Oh, that's actually what we did here, isn't it? It's too dark still. We'll go about there. It's probably different enough still. Yeah. Yep, that'll do it. Now, I've been debating this the entire time. Do I curve the wings at all? So these we can just. He's not a star. I guess he'd also not be a star unless it's like that, right? That's the original design too. Yeah, we can just delete these points for sure. I'm thinking the wings will be bigger overall. Point this one a little bit more up. Scale it up. This one bigger in general. Positioned a little bit better, maybe. Ooh, but this is getting a little too close there. Let's bring it down. Oh, that's why this looks weird. We need this. Yep. That'll make it definitely easier to read on that end. So there I did a trick as well. I don't know where this is in the layering, right? Like I can bring it all the way to the front. I can bring it all the way to the back. I don't want either of those. I want an element that is exactly on either the top of that layer or behind it. So in this example, I'm going to hold Alt and then left click and drag one out so it's like a duplicate. That keeps it on the layer right above that element. So you can even um, do it here and then like try to put it right back so that it's in the same spot if you want. And then you can like change its color, put it back one layer by doing control and then bracket, and then move it slightly over. And that's a pretty easy way to replicate this without even needing to mess with your layers or anything. So this is a neat, easy way to deal with the layer system. this is feeling pretty good. I like to just see him in the overall visual. His wings and his blades being sharp, I think, is fine. He fits the fact that there's sharp guys over here, right? These have sharp edges. There's not a lot of sharp, but we do with some. So I think it'll work. Yeah. No, I made his tail shorter at the beginning. I think I'm actually gonna make it longer again. Just flip flopping sometimes. Yeah, I think this will work. Okay, let's put the final. What would be the final touch on him? I think he's simple enough. I don't really want to add any detail to the wings. Maybe if anything, we do like one. That does look cool. Okay, we'll do that. Yeah, that does look cool. Now it's making me think all these elements should be two-toned. We do it here too, very easily. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just do that one. Not so sure about that one, unless we did like, the light color instead. I think the shading is a little bit better. Yeah, we can do it that way. And this one it'll be kind of the same. That not noticeable at all. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it. Maybe we officially put this away, the reference, and let's just make him work with everyone else. So we'll do the first. We'll copy everything, paste everything. So we have this whole duplicate of him. Inside of that, we're gonna want to do a flat pathfinder that is this one. It's gonna turn them all black, which is fine because then we go for this mode, extend them all the way to the back. We go into our appearance window, which you guys can't see, and it's totally fine. There's just a couple settings that I use to get it exactly how I want it, and then we turn the stroke up to the size I do, and then to give it a stylized addition, we move it 2 or 3 to one direction, and 2 up or down. As we go up, I usually just go off vibes. Let's fill this with black on the inside, and boom. There we go. You put them right there. Just keep all the black elements on the inside, kind of center them with the gray. kind of like a hornet look in a way. And then we'll group them. I'll chill. Relayer them one more time. And it's gonna be purple. There he is, Sirius Starfall Draco. Looking him with everybody. Think he fits in? Maybe one last big shot. That's it. That's probably all I'll do for today. And maybe do some implementation of new designs or animations, or I don't know, just try and do some more art next time. But this is kind of like the life cycle of one full design. And this is off of a monster that we already had. So if I'm trying to do new monster design, I might do sketching at the start as well. But I'll kind of do the same thing next time. So thanks, and I'll see you guys later.